Hi guys, welcome back to Cricket Spectacle. I'm Sidharth Gulati, and as always, I have with me Nikhil Deshpande and Dan Gardner. Also, we have a special guest who has joined us from Doha. He's young, he's vibrant, and I can tell you from my experience that he possesses a mighty fine brain, which is a must to understand the game of cricket. Please welcome Yashaswee Raman, a budding cricket historian, a writer, and an analyst. Yashaswee, it's good to have you.
Thank you very much, Siddharth. Thank you very much, Nikhil and Dan. It's really nice to be on the show. Looking forward to a great cricketing discussion and, trying to make my knowledge even better.
Yeah, thanks. And Yashaswee, just to start off, how is everyone in your family and how is everyone keeping up?
Yes, everyone is fine. The cases over here are under control, and I hope everyone is fine in India as well as in Australia.
I think Australia's been pretty good. India, I think, hopefully will be recovering soon as well. But good to hear that everything's great in Doha, Yashaswee. I think let's start with something which has kind of taken out the spirit out of all the cricketing fans right now. That is the cancellation of IPL, right? Like now, we can't go back and change anything. Obviously, now things are as they are, but somewhere down the line, the IPL might resume. Like even if it's a completely new tournament, or they're going to resume with where we left off. Considering the situation in India, it's unlikely that they are going to repeat the same venue or even try it. I'll start with you, Dan. Let's say hypothetically, if you were in charge of resuming it, where would you do it, and would you do it before the World Cup, T20 World Cup, or after it? How would you do it if you were in charge?
Oh, that's an excellent question, and I'm so glad you started with me today. I've actually been giving this a lot of thought. I've been in contact with Saurav, the big G at the BCCI. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a few tweaks to the rules for the IPL. So we're going to play it over at my house. We're going to have the classical game of backyard cricket. I live in a retirement complex, so the crowd will be spirited, but minimal.
But not rowdy. Yeah, that's the important.
Not too rowdy. Depending on what day of the week we have the games. There's a lovely grass area up here. A bit of a hill, some wildlife too. And I'm going to be implementing a few rule changes, starting with bringing back one hand, one bounce.
Yeah, so that's a good one. Yeah,
that's a good one. I think it's one out of style. The old one hand, one bounce catch, I think, could be making a comeback if we just sort of tweak the IPL rules there. Yeah. I think everyone would love it. We'll capture a new audience, and being in my backyard, it's a good chance for the Cricket Spectacle team to do some classic commentary there.
Absolutely. Then is that the only way that Mumbai Indians will not be winning the IPL? If you bring back the one bounce, one hand catch, or will they still win it?
No, Mumbai, they start on minus 55 points in my tournament here.
Just to make it fair.
Yeah, just to make it fair, we'll play like captain's favorite. So my man Chico gets like 4 lives per innings. Like the umpiring it'll be a little bit dicey depending on who's playing. I'm not going to lie.
That's going to be fun. Like that's going to be fun if Chico the one gets 4 lives.
Yeah,
that's surely getting him back into the Indian team.
Absolutely.
He's going to score like 300, 400 runs.
And that's why we're going to do it before the T20 World Cup. A couple other rules. If you're English and got red hair, you're out no matter what. Except if it's Josh Butler. Josh Butler's all right. Yeah, everyone else.
That's pretty good there.
Yeah, he's English, Josh Butler. And that's pretty rare for an England cricket team to have an Englishman in the English cricket team. I mean, Yashaswee, you're a cricket historian. You'd have some interesting stats on that. Yeah.
Definitely, but I would.
Where would you have it, Yashaswee? Like, go on. Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Like, if you were in charge, like, where would you be, and how would you play it out?
Yeah. No, see, right now, what I see, critical situation in India, and we cannot actually play it in India. So what are our options? As Dan said, I would love to have it in my backyard. Green surface, one tip, one hand. You bring that gully cricket back, and that would be really fun. But definitely, being such a big tournament and so much at stake, 25,000 crores, that's more than 10 zeros over there. So 10 zeros involved. You have to play it somewhere and get it over. And the most important thing would be to keep the players' safety at priority, which I felt, with the bubble being breached, was not very good sign for India. And with the T20 World Cup as well coming, it's not going to send good vibes or good message to the cricket fraternity, because teams are going to come from Papua New Guinea as well as from every corner of the world. So this is one thing, but I feel if really IPL has to happen, it should happen before the T20 World Cup, being a warm up for the T20 World Cup. And UAE could be a very good venue, with the cases being minimal, and we have already seen in the year 2020 the way it was played over there. Fantastic. And as Dan said, give Shikhar Dhawan 4 lives. I would want this for my favorite player. I would love to have this for Mahendra Singh Dhoni. I'm a huge MS fan. I would really want that. Give him 10-15 lives and get a bowling machine so that he can hit 3-4 sixes every game.
He doesn't need a bowling machine. He's MS Dhoni. He can hit it with any bowler. Just give him 3-4 lives probably, or you could just give him like 20 balls to settle in first, and then after that he's just on autopilot, isn't he? But yeah, I like the idea of having it before the World Cup. It makes sense because then players don't need to be traveling a lot. It's just advancing their journey and then just continuing on from that. Sidharth, do you agree with this idea, or would you have it before or after the World Cup?
I think before I get to my actual answer, I would just like to, add to what Dan said earlier. So I'm going to have the IPL in Dan's backyard, but at the very same time, I'm going to invite James Anderson and Stuart Broad to be a part of the IPL, so that I can see them, wreaking havoc as far as Australian batsmen are concerned, whether it is. I'm going to have, Marnus also invite him to the IPL, and then, all the other Australian batsmen, Steve Smith, David Warner, and then James Anderson.
Just want to start Ashes before the Ashes.
Yes.
And it's going to be a good precursor to the Ashes. And I really hope that the IPL is played with the red ball, I would say.
That's too many changes. We can't allow so many changes. We can only allow 3 changes, all right? These are too many changes.
I think the one hand, one bounce is pretty radical for the IPL. And I mean, it's just a good way to get people back on board here. But red ball, why stop at red? Go pink.
I think, Nikhil, just to get back to your point, I don't think that the IPL would be conducted this year, would be, completed this year, I would say. Because, there is a window, I think way back in September, once India finished their tour of England. And then there are going to be, these Indian players are going to be free for the IPL before the T20 World Cup before the T20 World Cup is scheduled to be played. I don't think, that the players from the other countries, specifically, England, let's say Ashley Giles has confirmed that the England players' availability might not be confirmed for the rest of the IPL. And I'm pretty much sure that, even as far as the Australian players are concerned, and even the players from other countries, it's going to be a bit tough for them to send their players, because there is, if I go by the FTP, then there's a lot of cricket to be played, a lot of international cricket. And most importantly, we have a couple of important series to be played shortly after the T20I World Cup. Like, India are going to go to South Africa, then we have the Ashes, and the other teams are also playing. So I don't think it's going to be, IPL will not be completed this year, because there is this bubble fatigue also, and we are not expecting the situation to improve drastically over the next few months. So I think, it's going to be pretty difficult. But having said that, as a fan, I would definitely want, IPL to be completed. And if by any chance, all boards can come to a specific conclusion as to, this tournament can be completed in this window, yes, I would love to watch it, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the Ashes will probably be the biggest one, right? And having it before the World Cup, my concern is that we don't want anyone to get injured right before the World Cup, right? The World Cup is something which is probably bigger than the IPL right now. We want and it's going to be the spectacle in the year right now. So I don't want them to be like either fatigued or injured or anything. So as much as I want the IPL to happen as a fan, but at the end of the day, it's probably best that we skip it this year. But speaking of Ashes though, and coming to you, Dan, in terms of from an Australian perspective, the team in itself, the captain, Tim Payne, he is what, I think 37 now, 37 years old, and he's soon going to be moving past away from his role, right? And there has to be someone who's going to take up the mantle after that. So Steve Smith's name as obviously has come up. He's the obvious choice, isn't he? But as a fan, as an Australian fan, right? Like I think among all of us, you would be the one who would be the most would have been impacted the most with the whole situation going down. As a fan, would you want Steve Smith to come back?
Oh, absolutely.
And from a cricketing perspective, obviously it makes sense. But as a fan, would you have Steve Smith back as your Test captain?
No, I'd probably go with Cameron Green. I mean, Cam does it all. He bats, he bowls, he wicket keeps. You know, he's the complete package, the ultimate cricketer. So we just put Cameron Green in, give him the big C as well next to his name, and I think we'd be fine with the big green giant. But if we can't get Cam to sort of take the reins, you've got Steve Smith there. But I think my dark horse would have to be Marnus Labuschagne. Number 3, good cricketing brain, enthusiastic, good fielder as well.
Just like a younger replica of Steve Smith, isn't he? That guy.
Yeah, he's similar, very, very similar. But, you know, outside of him, I mean, Travis Head is the obvious other selection as a potential.
Someone put in the name of Pat Cummins. I don't remember who said it, but Pat Cummins was another name which was thrown in the ring as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But it just feels... It just feels weird having a fast bowler as your captain. I'm not going to lie. It's just like...
it's a very...
going to the prom with your sister. It's just like, it's a petty thing. You just don't do it.
Yeah, I don't think that many teams do it, right? Anyway, so it's like, it's not a proven or a successful strategy so far. And it makes sense, I think, because as a batsman, you are more in the game. As a wicket keeper, probably you're the most in the game, and as a batsman, you'll feel the wicket better and you have a better read of the game. That's the basic ideology behind it, which makes sense. But as for your picks, you would go with, let's say, if Cameron Green is not ready yet.
Well, yeah, that's my stuff. I would go with Marnus Labuschagne.
Yeah, that's a good call. I mean, I like him. He has a good cricketing brain, like you said. He knows his game, and if someone has to take it for a longer term, then why not someone who's already in the setup? He knows the game, he knows the team, and that's a good
you got to focus on the future.
Absolutely.
You go with Marnus. That way there's no Steve Smith, Dave Warner, Cam Bancroft, Timmy Payne. That's all in the past, and you start afresh from there. And you know, there's plenty of good young keepers out there who can take over from Tim Payne, not just Alex Carey. You've got Josh Felipe, Joe Ingles. There are 2 that come to mind. Sean Whiteman was also another one sort of groomed for the gloves at one stage.
He's a Seb Goth also. He's an Australia guy, no? Sean Whiteman, if I'm not.
No, he's now an opening batsman and no longer a keeper. But they've got Josh Inglis in there as well, and he's kind of like looking the goods to pick up the top job too. So there's plenty of keeping options there. It's actually an exciting time. So once Payne goes, it's not an absolute mortgage for Alex Carey. There's plenty of competition there.
Yeah, which is always good. I mean, having that kind of competition will only push them ahead as well. Yeah, Yashaswee, who would you have as your captain in case you were to decide the Aussie captain?
Yeah, I'd pick Marnus.
You pick Marnus, yes. Dan has Marnus. Yashaswee, who would you have?
Yashaswee, who would you go?
Yeah, if, Australia is a proud cricketing nation, it's someone, when I see Australian fans, they're very proud of their players. And bringing back Steve Smith or David Warner as captains would actually hurt their pride. With what had happened in Cape Newlands in 2018, they really don't want that to happen again. So, if you have to ask me, I really would love to see Marnus Labuschagne take the reins from Tim Payne in the test. But there's one name, which I feel could become Australia's next captain. And when I saw him in the T20 series captaining against India, Matthew Wade, I felt, he led the team from the front. There was a vibe about him. Come on, this is my team, and I'm going to lead the team from front. And so I feel, just I don't know what's his age. I think he's above 33 or 34. I'm not very sure about.
The issue with that is he's lost his contract, his Cricket Australia contract.
Yes,
so
definitely.
he's out of the top 11. I mean, it's going to have to take some serious runs for him to get back in there.
Yes.
Yeah, I think, but this could happen after the Ashes. So there is that he has that time probably if that works out.
Yeah. And also we have seen his record against England. He's someone who gets into his groove against England, and in the Ashes we remember that. And also when what I feel with once Tim Payne is gone, he's already 37. With Tim Payne going, you would want someone who has been in the Test arena for some time now, and getting in someone new keeper. It wouldn't be very nice. So as Nikhil, you only said, getting in a keeper as a captain who, because keepers can read the game from where they are standing and have a good understanding of the game. So I feel Matthew Wade can be a very good option. And, definitely when Dan said about Cam Green is one of those, people who might become the Aussie captain in the near future. And there is Pat Cummins, but yes, as said, we are not very used to seeing a fast bowler becoming Aussie a cricketing captain, so it could be a little odd for us. But yes, if he becomes, it would be great. But my pick would be Matthew Wade.
All right, so that's Matthew Wade for Yashaswee, and that's a very interesting idea. Actually, I had not even thought of Matthew Wade in the discussion, but now that you said it, it adds to the logical explanation and how you reach there. Who would you have? Either of these two, or are you going with Smithy? Come on, say Smithy. Come on.
I think I'm just going to talk about the situation here first. So let's say if Tim Payne has, let's say if Ashes turns out to be his last, cricket series, then I would first of all, think of having someone as the Test captain who could also take over from Aaron Finch after the 2023 World Cup. And in my opinion, I think I would go with Dan here. Cameron Green is actually the best option. He's young, he's talented, he can do, he's a good batsman. He can also chip in with those, utility overs. But at the very same time, I think that inexperience factor might, just prove to be a con for Australia here. Because it's like we have seen some.
But we have to also consider that Graham Smith for South Africa, I
was coming to that.
So there is that point as well. I think Sidharth's connection is a bit bad right now, but Sidharth, you're back. So we were just saying that Graham Smith did it for South Africa. He was pretty young. Nobody thought he could do it. But then and Cam Green, like if there are 4 fans of Cam Green in the world, we 4 would probably be those ones, right? So he should be getting behind it.
Yes.
But like as you were saying, you continue what you were saying, that he could be the one to succeed Finchie as well in the ODIs, right? So
yes, absolutely. And I'm sure, am I audible to all of you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, I was actually coming to that Graham Smith point before my internet connection became a bit unstable. Yes, I think, and yes, I think it is a good story, with this Cricket South Africa that we have seen, how Graham Smith actually transformed them into a cricketing side that actually, turned out to be a very formidable across the Test format, and of course in ODIs and T20Is too. Yes, with Cam Green, the inexperience factor is going to be there, something that we have also discussed in one of our earlier shows, but I would definitely back him to lead Australia in Tests and ODIs. And in T20Is, I don't even mind having maybe someone like even Matthew Wade, he said, as Yashaswee said, and even Pat Cummins is also a good option, because Pat Cummins, he needs to be, Australia's captain in one of the formats. And definitely, we can't expect him to, assume that role in Tests and ODIs because of, his workload. But in T20, I think things can be managed a bit. And as you know, there's not going to be that much of a workload. It's just 4 overs and it's just a 40-over game. So yeah, I don't think that should be much of a trouble. Having said that, I think
we have already seen.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Yeah, we have already seen Stuart. We have already seen Stuart Broad captaining England in the 2012 T20 World Cup. So yeah, as Siddharth said, Cummins could be a good option.
Absolutely. And I think, and for, let's say, if Cam Green is appointed as the captain, then you are going to need a credible vice captain here who probably, has some experience and, who can also guide Cameron Green. And here, I would personally go with Steve Smith. It might be, some people might not agree with this move, but Cam Green is young. And, as we said, he's still learning. And he would need someone, let's say, it happened during that Border Gavaskar Trophy 2014-15, when Michael Clarke got injured after the first test. It was the same year in which, we lost Phil Hughes. So when Michael Clarke got injured after the first test, Brad Haddin was to take over the captaincy from him for the remaining 3 tests. However, Cricket Australia appointed Steve Smith, the young Steve Smith, as the captain for those 3 tests, and Brad Haddin was a vice captain, just to have give him that experience factor. So that is where I think Steve Smith could actually assume the role of a vice captain, and that could be, I think that could be a very understandable move, in my opinion. What do you think, Nikhil? What's your take on this?
Yeah, I would go with Manas for now, because we know how good Manas and Steve Smith they are in terms of like a working relationship. They are like I always call Manas as a junior Steve Smith. Like he reminds me a lot about him in terms of how he approaches the game, right? Like both of them are like just obsessed with cricket. There's no other word apart from that. They probably will be the same people in their individual houses, like shadow practicing at night when everyone's sleeping. Probably I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. But have Manas take over, have Steve Smith as the vice captain, because they have a good working relationship as well. Already they are good teammates. They have been playing together for a while. But in the meanwhile, I would also have Cam Green being mentored by Steve Smith, by Warner, by Manas himself. And then you look at who would fit which format better. Like Manas probably would not be, I wouldn't pick Manas to be a T20 captain maybe, but Cam Green could be that role, could have that role. And then if Cam Green does exceptionally well in T20, then you move him to ODIs and then to Test, and you could do that. But that's the thing, like you don't know how they are going to take up the role, but just purely on potential, Cam Green eventually is going to get the captaincy someday. It's just purely on potential. It's going to happen. So why not use the experience and knowledge of Steve Smith and even Warner, Tim Payne, whoever that is, groom them, get them ready. And once Tim Payne goes out, you get a younger captain in there, and then move from there. But yeah, that's so we have 2 Manas, 1 Cam Green, and Yashaswee, you went with a wild card here, Matthew Wade. So if Cricket Australia, not if, when Cricket Australia watches this video, we already have sorted your issues, so you don't need to think much. And speaking of Pat Cummins, though, like let's stick with the Pacers. Like I have a question which kind of troubles me a bit, because we all have.
Nikhil, before you make this point, I just wanted to make one point.
Yeah, go on.
Do we really want Tim Payne to retire before an Indian series? Because Ashwin told him that would be your last series in India. Do we really want that?
I really want Dan to answer this question seriously.
Dan, you would be the right person to answer this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not like Ashwin's going to win another series again. I mean, that's his first time winning in Australia. You win one series.
That's been ticked off now. So
I mean, again. This is like the first time he's made a contribution in 20 years. He sounds like Jimmy Anderson. Oh, look at me! I won a series. How many attempts?
Hopefully, it doesn't win it again. Then otherwise, we have the recording now.
I mean, how many attempts did it take you? You won one. It's like it's like patting the little child on the head. It's like, hey, good job, Jimmy. You got there in the end. Oh, you stood up to that guy. You told him, but I mean, after 15 years, it's kind of like it loses its sting. It's like in the middle of a pandemic, when they've got people falling down left, right, and centre. Oh, look at me, I won. It's like, yeah, that's lovely, that's nice. So
fair point, though. Fair point.
I really
Yeah,
can't
I think
wait
Tim
for
Pin.
this year's
Yeah.
Ashes. I really can't wait for this year's Ashes. I really want to see.
Ashes is gonna be fun, though. Ashes is really gonna be fun, isn't it?
Yeah,
like it's gonna be the spark point for the end of the year, isn't it? It's gonna be like, it's been a very slow kind of year for cricket. It's gonna explode, isn't it? It's gonna be so much fun.
The thing is, like with the borders at the moment, no England fans will be allowed in, and then Jimmy Anderson's going to be retiring in Melbourne. Stuart Broad too.
The schedule's out for that, by the way.
England holding the urn and having beers.
No, that's not gonna happen.
You
can't let that happen, Dan.
Jimmy will fake an injury. It's like, oh, this is too hard. I did my elbow. He'll take something out of the Graham Swan, Matt Pryor. I mean, now that Joe Root's captain, they can't really drop him, can they? I mean, it's good he was able to get through a series last time without being dropped.
No, but if he does end up losing, though, then that's the end of the road, isn't it?
When he does,
if and when, yeah. I think we'll go with when, yeah.
We'll go with when.
Okay, let's just move on with this.
Yeah, but sticking with England, though, Ben Stokes, I think. The point I was making before we talked about this was that we all have grown up watching fast bowlers like who are also all-rounders, right? Like Lance Klusener, let's say, Sean Pollock, Andrew Flintoff, there was Tom Moody, Chris Gaines, people who could bowl medium fast, at least not if out and out fast, but medium paces or fast bowlers who could also contribute with the bat and be called genuine all-rounders, right? Where have we lost these guys? Like, let's say Ben Stokes, let's give credit to where it's due. He's a good all-rounder, but apart from him, there's literally no one. I mean, Jason Holder probably is the closest, and I don't consider Jason Holder to be an actually good batsman. He might be an okay, good bowler, but not a great batsman.
Hey, I'm just going to call time on you right there. Okay, Jason Holder has a double century.
Against England.
Yeah.
Against England, that's why you remember it, Dan.
Yeah, and by the way, you left out Jason Gillespie.
Also double century. He's not an all-rounder. He's not an all-rounder.
Yeah, I mean, we will consider him an all-rounder.
Just one interesting fact.
Sure.
Yeah, an interesting fact. The game where Jason Gillespie scored a 237 against Bangladesh, that went on to be his last test. So you scored 200, and that is the end of your career. Thank you very much.
That is how you should end your career.
That's a great mic drop there.
Yeah. How are you going to top that?
Okay, actually, I can top that. You didn't say Kapil Dev.
No, I mean, how else will you top your career? That's the peak of your career, right? When you
I know, but you can't backtrack out of this one. Like, you didn't say Kapil Dev, one of the greatest all-rounders.
Yeah. No, I missed a lot. I think I missed like
Richard Hadley.
Yeah, like so there are like so many. I can't even start naming all of them. But the point being that is it because of T20 cricket? That's my main question, though. Is T20 cricket and the overall increase in games, is that what has led to less fast bowling all-rounders in the world? What do you feel about that, Yashaswee? Is it something that could have, or is it a part of the reason why we have less fast bowling all-rounders today?
This could well be the reason, because nowadays when we see T20 cricket, we are only seeing utility players. We are seeing players who can bat and who can bowl quick balls, just for an over or two. we are not looking for players, we're not looking for a long horse, long race horse. We're just looking for some utility players. That is why, if you see the IPL, you see Andre Russell bowling in the death only 2 or 3 overs. You're not seeing any fast bowling all-rounder bowling all his 4 overs, apart from maybe a Sam Curran. I don't even see anybody else bowling 4 overs. So yes, this could be a big reason why there is lack and dearth of the good fast bowling all-rounders.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So what do you feel like? Is it down to the increase in cricket, or is it just that specialists are more
Specialists,
important?
yes.
I think, first of all, workload, I don't think cannot be an issue here, because I understand the fact that, you have one more format now, which wasn't the case, if we go back 20, 30 years back from now. And also you have the T20 leagues, but that is where, a player can make that choice whether he wants to, play for a particular T20 league or not, a T20 league or not. Having said that, I think it just boils down to the fact that um, it's more, cricket is basically now more about specialists here, I would say. And that is where I very much agree with the point of Sarandeep Singh. He's the former India selector. He said that, if Hardik Pandya is not able to
Yes.
bowl his overs even in ODIs and T20Is, then I don't think he deserves a place in the Indian cricket setup. Having said that, you would be tempted to have someone like Hardik Pandya in the middle order, specifically in the white ball formats. But that is where I think India have actually lagged in the last 4-5 years. You do not actually have you do not actually have more than five bowling options in a game. And that was also one of the major drawbacks which India faced during the 2019 World Cup. Hardik wasn't actually fit during the semi-final against New Zealand. So yeah, having said that, I think it's just more about being specialists here, because earlier also we saw the likes of Tendulkar, Ganguly. They also bowled a few overs, be it tests and ODIs. But yeah, I think it's also it's basically just down to the fact that how people are actually managing their cricketing. Let's say if there is a batsman who has the potential to bowl a few overs, whether he's actually training himself more, for that, whether he can deliver those overs or not, that's also a big question mark, because cricket nowadays has actually evolved, and at the very same time players are a bit more skeptical about whether they do some extra stuff, whether they're going to get injured or not, or something of that sorts happen. So yeah, that's actually one of the concerns. And I think that's a very good point, and that's a very valid point that you have made, Nikhil, because I think that actually here called for a discussion.
Yeah, and then I will just add the name Cam Green into this, because he is the guy right now. He will be the next all-rounder who we will be naming, like probably in the next few years. Even now, actually, we can just name him as the next all-rounder, pace bowling all-rounder, right? So would you reckon that he will stay the course, or will he just pick a side? Let's say he will go with batting, because he could just go up the order and stick with batting. Would you reckon he is going to stay the course?
I think he's going to stay the course. I think you're going to see him bowl a lot more in this summer. It's just getting the bowling back. It was good exposure against India at number 6. He's a classical number 6 who bats like Kevin Peterson, but he's got a 145 kilometre outswinger with bounce. And he can field. Like amazing fielder as well. So I think we're going to see a lot more of Cam Green at 6. I mean, Australia have been looking for an all-rounder since England put out Andrew Flintoff, and I think they might have, in Green they've probably found the guy.
Yeah, I mean, if Green can, and he will live up to his potential and or make us all 4 of us very happy with him. That's where is the next big all-rounder, pace bowling all-rounder is going to come, isn't it? I think we have covered all the aspects around it. But before we leave, Yashaswee, since we have you here and you are so good with numbers, please leave us with something interesting, maybe for the Indian cricket fans, like some interesting stat or a number which we should be looking out for the next time we watch cricket. Is there something that you can think of and just throw it in there?
Yes, there's a number called 321. It's a number of death for India. India when you see 321 in an ODI game, you say, yeah, it's fine. We have scored this in the first innings. We will be able to defend it. India have scored it on 3 different occasions and have lost 2 and tied 1. One against Pakistan in Mohali, the other at Champions Trophy 2017 against Sri Lanka, and the last one, the recent one against West Indies at Vizag, which ended in a draw. So 321 is a number which we shouldn't be, excited with, and we should be like, score 322 or score 320. That would be better.
Someone get Virat Kohli on the line just to make sure that we don't end up with 321 ever again. So that that's a safe line. What about T20s though? We are good with India making 321 in T20.
I hope so.
That'd be fine.
I hope so because 16 runs per over would be very difficult to chase.
Let's hope that it doesn't come down to that. I think yeah, it's been a great chat though. Yashaswee, thanks for joining us, and we are going to pitch Dan's idea to Saurav Big G Ganguly as well about the backyard cricket. We are going to do that. Also, all the options have been put out for Cricket Australia to have the next captain, and we are keeping our fingers crossed that Cam Green is the next fast bowling all-rounder that we talk about in the years to come.
So, absolutely. And just before we wrap up tonight, everyone, apologies to Shikhar Dhawan. Unfortunately, we've run out of time and we can't have Shikhar on the show. But we'll see how we go next week. So again, apologies to Shikhar Dhawan.
Yeah, I apologize as well, Shikhar, and we'll have you soon up here. But for today, thanks again, Yashaswee, for joining us. And here's me, Sidharth, Dan, and Yashaswee signing off. Please stay safe and yeah, have a good weekend ahead. See ya.
Yep. Stay safe, everyone. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Thank you. It was a pleasure.